Hello and welcome back to the Level Cap Podcast, the mystical journey where you and Brad and me learn about level 99 games, fun and otherwise.
I guess a mystical journey is a good way to describe it. Although I don't really learn about level 99 games. I guess that makes me kind of like the Merlin of the podcast, of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
journey, right? Because
Then
I already know, and I'm just teaching you in the ways.
so you're the sage. You're
I'm
the old
the
sage.
Mr. Miyagi of this podcast. Yeah.
Quick, Brad, teach me how to catch flies with chopsticks.
It's simple, Marco. Wax on, wax off.
Ah, yes. Man, it's been a while since I watched Karate Kid. Speaking of which, did you watch like the Jaden Smith remake of that movie?
No, I didn't. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Okay, so there is a Jaden Smith remake of the movie called The Karate Kid, which is totally wrong, by the way, because number one, Mr. Miyagi's Jackie Chan.
That doesn't sound wrong at all. What's
sorry.
wrong with that?
The wrong part of it is that Jackie Chan is a kung fu master. So he doesn't
not
learn
a karate master.
Exactly. So he doesn't learn karate. He learns ancient Chinese kung fu martial arts instead. So
I guess the Kung Fu Kid isn't quite the same ring to it.
But Jaden Smith totally beats up this other guy. I can't believe you didn't know that there was a remake. It was like
I think now that you're saying it, I'm remembering that there must have been something, but it's not the kind of thing that's at the forefront of my mind every day, you know.
So it's not the kind of thing that you usually like. So are you telling me that you have locked this memory behind some gates so that you don't remember?
It's the gates of I got other stuff to do.
Oh my god.
rather than reminisce about Jaden Smith movies I've never seen.
Jaden Smith movie that was semi decent. Oh man, I think the only thing that's similar to the Karate Kid is the thing where he does the crane stance and does the 1 foot thing. That's the only thing that's similar. Aside from the fact that there is some random Asian old man who teaches the kid martial arts. I mean, I guess that's the other thing. But yeah.
That's kind of the whole plot, though. Really, there's the old guy teaches martial arts to the young American kid, and then they do the crane stance, and then the movie's over. That's all anybody remembers anyway.
Actually, that's totally true. Actually, if we wanted to make an Indians version of it, just have, I guess, somebody like Eaxis teach Clive how to do martial arts and then...
how to use bending.
Sure. We teach them how to use bending, and then Clive does the crane stance,
and then beats up Gerard, and that's the end of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, Brad, this has been a one odd morning for you. Then in sunny.
I'm gonna leave this to the fan fiction authors.
Daniel, you know what you gotta do, my man. Daniel, you know what you gotta do, my man. But yeah. Welcome to the Level Cap Podcast, everyone. We have a very wonderful docket for all of you tonight or today. I don't know. When do people usually listen to this? You know what? Tell us in the comment section
on
down
Wednesday. Below. We have a really great program for you next week. That's what you ought to say.
We got a really great program for you next week because you're going to be listening to this at that point in time. May it be sunny and nice. So, Brad, how have you been this fine Wednesday morning? I guess. Do you have news, or did you wake up from your chrysalis? What?
Well, I woke up and it's Thanksgiving morning. So if you're listening to this, we're recording on Thanksgiving. So I guess there's not really too much new news. Well, there will be a little bit of news. I'll tell you a bit in the later. But I just want to say thanks to everybody for sticking with us, for joining in, and for being a part of Level 99 Games, and especially to you, Marco, for being with me all these mornings and staying up late to do this podcast. It's really cool to share the experience, not just the games, but kind of this family that we have with Level 99. So anyway, I just want to say thanks to you and to everybody else who's listening to us, and to all the rest of our team members too. Thank you
Yay.
for being part of Level 99.
And thanks for letting me be part of it. Can I, as a non-American, still celebrate Thanksgiving? Is that okay?
Absolutely, you should celebrate Thanksgiving every day.
Oh yeah, and give thanks for all the things that you're happy to have, right?
Yeah, but then turkeys would go extinct.
Oh, and we'd all get fat, like really fat.
Yeah, like real fat.
Yeah.
Maybe just in spirit celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Do all of that without like scoffing the entire turkey every day.
Yeah. That's not really the point. The turkeys are great, but the real food for your soul is that spirit of gratitude.
Oh, and the love you have for others. Speaking of which, Brad, what's your
Absolutely.
favorite Thanksgiving food then?
My favorite Thanksgiving food is probably stuffing.
Wait, just the stuffing?
So you don't know, but like Linda makes this really delicious stuffing, and it's like the best thing ever. And I just look forward to Thanksgiving so that she'll make stuffing again. That's great.
Have you ever tried like stealing the recipe to the stuffing so that you could eat it whenever you want?
It's not the same, Marco. Like that's just not the same. That's like if I read Miyamoto's design blog, I don't have to play Zelda games anymore because I can just make my own. Like, no, it's not that simple, right?
I see. It doesn't have the secret ingredient, Brad. Love.
Yeah, chemical X.
Oh, wait, what?
What? The secret ingredient's always chemical X. What do you mean? Like, I love?
Love is chemical X. Canon.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so speaking of cannons, that's totally not related to what we're going to talk about. Let's just talk about our Game Club game for this week.
But Chemical X may be related to our character of the week. But we'll get to that later.
That's true. These ingredients make for the perfect little girls. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about our Game Club game for this week. Brad, our Game Club game for this week is...
Fantasy Strike.
Ooh, playing with the competition, I see, Brad. Playing with the competition.
Everybody sees like that we have this big rivalry, but I met David Starlin a few times, and he's just a cool guy. He makes cool games.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed most of the stuff that I've played. My favorite is Flash Duel from the Starlin games. But Fantasy Strike is really good. It's good so far, and it's still alpha. So I kind of see a bit of the rough edges that we have in BattleCon Online in that game.
Yeah.
But it's neat. I kind of see what they're trying to do, and I feel like, to me at least. Well, let me give some background before we get into it. So this is a fighting game. Every character has basically 6 hit points. So every attack does 1 or 2 damage, and that's pretty much the game. So you know exactly how much damage each move is going to do. It's very much about tagging your opponent without getting tagged back by them. And in that sense, it feels a lot like a party game, like Dive Kick or Tower Fall or those kind of things, because the conditions for victory are very clear cut. The things your characters are able to do are very clear cut. There's not a lot of complex mechanics like cancels and combos and stuff like that. Like, you really just learn what you have to do, what you're able to do, and then it's a refinement of those basic techniques over and over and over. So you hit I guess what I'd say, the competitive skill floor is like the ground level. So as soon as you start playing, you kind of learn everything you can do, and then it's just about timing and execution, not really about learning new combos or concepts and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I read a designer blog by Cyrillin, I think, and he was talking about how Fantasy Strike, the video game. Okay, so Fantasy Strike, the video game, is actually a fighting game video game that's based off the Fantasy Strike board game, right? The Yomi board game. Sorry, it's by Fantasy Strike. It's called Yomi, which is like a 52 card deck rock paper scissors simulator, right?
Yeah, Yomi is a bluffing counterplay game, but like it's both players select a card, you flip the cards over, and the based on what you do and what your opponent do, they interact, and one player wins. So it's kind of like a much simpler BattleCon.
Yeah, because there's no styles or anything. So it's kind of like Exceed.
Yeah, it's kind of like Exceed, but there's not range either.
Yeah,
and the game state doesn't track very much.
Yeah,
so the game state's entirely in your hand.
Yep, definitely,
and not on the
definitely.
board.
Yeah.
In that case, it's a little bit more like Exceed.
Yeah,
Um,
indeed. So like he was talking about how Fantasy Strike is meant to kind of hit that sweet spot between actual fighting games, quote unquote actual fighting games, like your Street Fighters, your Guilty Gears, your Blaze Blues, and Dive Kick. Because Dive Kick is a game wherein there's only two commands, which is to dive and then to kick, right? And the entire game is just your characters can only jump and then dive kick, and that's the entire game. So they wanted to make it a little bit more complex than that, give people more options and more tools. But like at most, every character has like 6 commands. That's it. Like every character can do
yeah,
6 moves.
it's
That's
pretty
it.
simple.
Yeah, super
And
super simple.
I kind of see this as a game for like my friends. A lot of my friends really like Dive Kick and thought it was great. Who are not fighting game fans, and I feel like this is kind of like a next intermediate step that I could show them before getting into like Street Fighter V and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a very nice intermediate, like for the very early players who are getting into it. That said, also the cleanness of it, not having all these extra mechanics, does put it in a different category. It's almost in that same Smash Brothers category where it's just real easy to teach people how to play because the controls just do what you plan to do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think it's a very interesting game. And like, do you read the design blogs that he puts out every time he does a new patch?
Not too much. I really don't don't have time to follow blogs too closely, but I've listened to some of the podcasts and I read a couple of the blogs in the old days, so I know some of the philosophies behind that game.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because when you dilute the move set to be like a certain set of tools instead of just like every character having 16 or whatever, when they nerf or they buff something, they can just tell you this thing does X thing too often or too much. And like I guess that's just like as a somebody who plays like fighting games casually, is that even possible? But yeah, I play fighting games casually. Like I feel like I'm able to understand this game way more than like your Street Fighters or something like that. Like because it's incomprehensible.
you don't have to know all these concepts like like frame advantage and stuff like that. It's just, well, maybe you do at a competitive level. I don't know how competitive Fantasy Strike gets, but I imagine that it's much more about your reflexes and and your strategy than it is about whether you have block frame advantage or whether you can cancel this into that.
Yeah, so it's not about like figuring out complex combos, though that's not to say there are none, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Brad? Who's your favorite character so far?
I mean, I enjoy Geiger. This is one of the Zoner characters, but I guess Jaina is probably my de facto main right now because I like zoners. And she's the better zoner in the cast at the moment.
You're disgusting.
Yeah.
You're the kind of people who makes other people hate playing fighting games.
Yeah, hey, I mean, get good,
Oh my
there's
god.
ways around this.
Oh my
There's ways
god.
around this tech.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, like I just watched this like design blog about Jaina and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's how it works. So
I guess I like a character where I can punish my opponent's mistakes, but they have trouble punishing mine because I do make a lot of mistakes.
it's to overcompensate. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, you like broken characters. You like broken.
No, I don't want to say broken characters. I just say characters that can be played safely.
I see.
That's
definitely true.
I mean, I played New in Blaze Blue and that kind of thing. So
I see. So you like safe characters. You want to guess who my favorite Fantasy Strike character is?
Oh, I don't know. Tell me.
It's DeGray.
DeGray's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's a neat character.
Yeah, DeGray's entire thing. So if Jaina and Geiger are like zoners, I think the best way to describe DeGray is like he's a counter fighter. He's a counter attacker, right? But he's not like a tank who eats your attack and then punches you back. He's actually like he's supposed to catch you off guard. So like when you do a slow attack, he has if he punches you out of the slow attack with a faster attack, that's a counter hit, right? And then like DeGray gets like 6 damage off of a counter hit or something. So basically you spend the entire game just waiting for your opponent to stupidly throw a move out, and then you punish them and you eat 75% of their health bar.
Wow. Okay. I have to experiment with that some more.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
realize he was that powerful on counter game.
Yeah, that's his entire shtick actually. Like he's built around it because he's the only one that on a counter hit he does a wall bounce. So when you counter hit something, he combos off of every single counter hit he gets. So
Huh.
yeah, and then he can like the counter hit itself is 1 damage, and then like his combo can deal an extra 4 or 3. So he eats like
Oh, wow.
75% of your health bar.
Huh.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
if
Well, it is nice that the game is so quick that doesn't really matter. You know, like you win or you lose a game of Fantasy Strike really quick, and I think that's what makes it a good party game too. Is because if you play, you know, it's like even like a round is probably like 15 seconds, but a match is only a minute or two.
yeah, and that's
So it's
already
much
best
easier.
of 5, right? Like it's a best of
Yeah.
5 game, so games
Yeah.
go by real fast.
Just like Dive Kick.
Oh, just like dive kick. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's actually one other discussion topic that I'd like to point out here. Is that have you played Rising Thunder?
No, what's that?
Rising Thunder is basically, I believe, Fantasy Strike before Fantasy Strike happened. So
Is this the robot one? Maybe I
this-
have heard of this.
yes, this is the robot one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for all of you guys who didn't know, Rising Thunder is a fighting game for PC, and it was purely like online play, right? And it was a fighting game wherein the main gimmick was that all your specials and all your supers were attached to hotkeys instead of being attached to input commands. So you could do anything like a MOBA. So it was like the control scheme of a MOBA on a fighting game. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was pretty
That's kind of
interesting.
how Skullgirls Online plays too now. We talked about that a little earlier, I think.
Yeah, the mobile game, the Skullgirls mobile game. Yeah, so it's kind of like that, right? It's like you could do skills really easily, and it was a good game. But that's the thing. I think it's even more complex than Fantasy Strike. Fantasy Strike dilutes it even more because it abstracts your health
Well,
bar
distills it even more.
Sorry, yeah,
Right?
distills
Like,
it even
yeah,
more.
we're condensing the core mechanic out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like it distills it even more because, you know, like you said, right? Your health bar is a certain number of pips, and all attacks deal 1 damage, except for certain exceptions, which I think are anything that Rook, Midori, and the Grey do, because they deal 2.
Yeah, they're the heavy hitters of the game, and they have extra HP too. So like it's hard to take down Rook. Although he doesn't have a lot to do at mid range and long range,
Yeah.
at least like still takes you 8. He still has to make 8 mistakes before he goes down.
Yeah.
So-
Midori has 7, I think, but the Grey still has 6. The Grey has the same amount of health as everyone else. That's what he
Okay.
pays for it. Like he has the strength of a heavy hitter, but he's not slow, so he has to pay for it somewhere, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Brad, would you recommend Fantasy Strike to our listeners?
Yeah, I would say check it out. If you're uncertain, I'd wait for beta, but it's still pretty fun in alpha. And if you are a big fighting game buff, then it's definitely something you want to watch out for.
Definitely. I think you should get it, especially because they just released a new character. So, yeah, if you wanna test out, what's his name? What's the name of the panda who gambles? The
Lum?
gambling Lum. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just released Lum, and I think they implemented him from Yomi pretty interestingly. Like I played a lot of Lum in Yomi, so it's interesting. I didn't expect him to be like that, but I guess that's the way he works. He's a random item character. His special button throws a random item onto the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a Teddy from
Persona.
P4A.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like Teddy. Exactly like he's kind of like they're both bears. Conspiracy.
Yep.
All right.
Bearspiracy.
Bearspiracy. That's the name of this episode. I'm sorry.
Is
I
it?
will. I will now make like the profile image for this will be a bear with like the Illuminati for an eye. So that's what you.
It's a bearspiracy, Kuma.
Oh
that.
no! Let's move on to our next segment. Let's ignore that just happened. What was that? Oh my gosh! Who are you and what have you done with Brad? I thought bad impressions were a Marco game. Oh my gosh!
Oh man!
man.
Right. Well, anyway, yeah. So
my
I guess
God.
we're on to character of the week.
Yes, character of the week. Our character of the week of this week is
So, sugar, spice, everything nice, chemical X, and metal.
And metal.
These are the
Wait.
ingredients chosen to create Thesala 3.
Oh,
But it's mostly
fighting
metal.
sounds
It's
good.
like 95, probably even 98% metal.
98%
Um,
metal.
yeah. The
So
other
what's
things
this?
they just fell in by accident. Um,
Okay, like he just kind of tripped. Like whoever was making this
yep,
character just kind of tripped.
yep. Tripped and
Tell-
dropped a donut, and
oh
that
my
was it.
gosh! Tell us about the Solid Three. Tell us about her X Factor. What's the Solid
Okay,
Three?
her X13 factor
Oh my
or the
gosh!
X26 factor. I can't remember which one's the one in Wolverine. Maybe it's X23. Maybe I'm
Yes,
just
I think
now
it's
I'm embarrassing all my Marvel fans. I'm sorry, guys.
it's okay. Let's just pretend that we were referencing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and that X Factor is just a mechanic in that game. So,
Yeah, there you go. That's what Marco was talking about anyway.
yeah.
I don't think I can cover for myself, but anyway. So Thesala 3 is the cover character for Fate. One of the coolest characters, I think, in BattleCon. One of my favorites. She has a evolution grid where she gets new abilities every single turn. And Thesala is a artificially created steel elemental. So she like controls metal the same way that like Kalistar might control fire or Reaxis might control earth. There are no normal steel elementals in the world. She's completely artificial creation. And so if you get kind of a Carolyn vibe from this character, or even Klinhide vibe from this character, that's probably right on. She's definitely a like weird science sort of character. And yeah, well, why don't you talk about her ability set a bit, Marco, and then I'll go into the lore afterwards.
Oh wow, are we doing mechanics first? What's this, Brad?
Yeah, let's do mechanics first.
Okay, so
I think the
Thesala.
mechanics help you understand the character a little better. So.
Definitely. Okay, so as Brad mentioned earlier, Thesala's entire shtick is her evolution board. So actually, it's this giant piece of cardboard in the game, and there's like a center space. So it kind of looks like a bingo card. It kind of feels like a bingo card sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, so she actually starts in the center, and her unique ability allows her to place a marker on top of one of the adjacent spaces to the center or to a space that already has a marker on it. And then you gain whatever bonuses are listed on that space you covered. So it's pretty interesting because she can basically work her way towards a certain end of the board. Because at the corners of the board are really, and I mean really broken effects. Things like power +5, things like you become active player, things like priority +4 or stuff like that.
Range +1 to like range +0 to 4, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. They're super broken, but you have to work your way towards them, right? And you can't get a bonus again. Because once you cover it, you can't put another marker on top of it. So that means once you redeem a bonus, it's gone forever. So Thesala is a really interesting character because she's a character wherein she has to manage how she evolves herself and manage the grid in her evolution board so that she gets the bonuses she wants later on in the game. Like she can set up for later in the game by evolving and adapting correctly. As for her styles, Thesala is a bully. Brad, can we I'll call her the other B word. Don't laugh, okay?
Uh-huh.
Thesala's a brawler. Okay.
Sorry. I knew it. I knew you were gonna say it. I couldn't help myself. But in this case, I think you're absolutely right. There's no question that she is a like get in your face and punch you better than you can punch her character.
Yeah, and a lot of her
and she can
tricks.
punch pretty good.
She can punch super good. So Thesala's styles are really good. Like some of them are just straight up your opponent can't retreat or something like that, right?
She's got a lot of gotchas, kind of like Wardlaw in that respect. Like there are a lot of things. It's like your opponent can't do this, and if your opponent doesn't see it coming and play around it, then they're just in trouble.
Wait a minute. So I can pay Thesala and she'll randomly generate a loot box for me that may or may not have 5-star fidget spinners?
Not those gotchas. The
So like GOTCHA, like
yes,
got you.
yes.
Okay. So yeah. She tends to have a lot of styles that like essentially limit play space a lot. And if your opponent hard commits to a specific line of play and you basically hard read it, Thessala will completely destroy them. Mix that in with a style that is by just, at some point in the game, +4 power for free. You basically have a character who will punch you super hard and then you can't run away from her. She's a very, very powerful character. Often touted as top 10 in the tier rankings. Some might even say she's number in the top 5. And something about Thessala, which I don't really mention for a lot of characters, is that she actually has one of the best, if not the best, overdrive finishers in the game. Slaughterhouse is basically a free beat. Like, if you play Slaughterhouse, you win the beat by default, unless your opponent dodges or something.
Yeah, that move is it lets you just pick and do any evolution on your grid, I believe.
Yeah.
Which and it's like a cancel speed, like Hikaru's Geomantic. So you just do one of the effects as you need it.
Exactly. So
super good.
Pseudo cancels are the best effect in the game. They're the most powerful thing in the game, I think. So if your character has a pseudo cancel that is on reveal or start of beat, you are like that's like their best style or their best attack. Like, it's the reason why Geomantic is Hikaru's best style. It's the reason why Artifice Avarice makes Runica like super good.
Yeah. No. She's pretty strong. The choice, I guess, the breadth of choices you have is what really makes the character shine, because you can pick how you're going to tech up your tech tree based on what the opponent's strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah. Because again, there's only so many beats in the game, and Thessala has so much stuff on her evolution board, way more than 15 spaces. So you have to make a choice at some point.
Yeah. So she's pretty cool character. Definitely a favorite. She is one of the Division 13 members, so you can tell that by the number after her name. Mm-hmm. And she was a scientist in Wolat until her daughter was killed in an accident. Her daughter Ellery was killed, and she attempted to commit suicide by injecting herself with this dangerous metal called Vital Silver. Anyway, she was saved just in time by one of the Magisters, and he used this drug to kind of fuse the metal into her body so that it wouldn't kill her. And so she came back as Thessala 3.
But is she warped? Like does she act like she used to be? Because it seems like she's a crazy person.
Her personality is really crazy. And there's a lot more to her than this story. Like the story goes a few levels deeper. But I don't want to spoil too much, because she will be a character that we explore some more.
Wait, is this in the visual novel, Brad?
She's not in the visual novel, but I have plans for beyond all that.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, she can transform her body into metal and back pretty fluidly. But every few hours, she has to take a drug, and if she misses a dose of this, she just turns into solid metal until somebody can give her another injection.
Wait, how can she get injected if she's solid metal?
Mad science stuff.
Magic.
Don't worry about it.
Magic science.
Yeah, magic science.
I see.
But anyway, I guess you just need a diamond point syringe. But at any rate, she does have to be monitored, and she has to take this decongestant, she calls it, in order to stay normal, to stay human. She's kind of crazy. She has the weird visions of her daughter, and she thinks that the Division is trying to suppress her memories so that she'll be a better soldier.
But are they?
And so well, I don't want to say, but she does she's also kind of one of those characters that is inside this organization, but isn't totally loyal to them. She's trying to find out her own past and her own history, because she has a lot of memory holes.
I see. I assume that almost 80% of the Division 13 members aren't actually loyal to the Division, because it's
you might. I mean, I don't know. That's a good point. They all have their own reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just. This is based off assumption, right? But I'm pretty sure like half of the characters in the Division 13 are like crazy space monsters or like drugged up
That's
psycho
just Burgundy.
psycho people, for example, or
Well,
like living
yeah.
computer viruses, like right.
Maybe. There are a few that are just that's just their life. I mean, like Clint Hyde, he's been in there for as long as he remembers.
Oh, and Serafina's
But
his mom,
like,
right?
so yeah, Seraphine is basically his mom at this point. Um, you know, so they have different what's the word? They just have
Agendas.
different agendas. Yeah.
I see.
Um, but anyway, so Vasali is one of the more capable members of Division 13, but she's also under constant monitoring
Oh, she's the
because they're worried about her, psyche.
yeah. She seems like off. Like. Okay, look, we won't deny the fact that our game has an anime art style, right? Like, but like she has the crazy anime face. Like, I don't know how to
Yeah,
explain it. Like, where she has like the elongated tongue looking thing. Like, she basically has Hiketch's face, so that's kind of weird, right? Like,
she's pretty crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. If you see some of the art pics for her finishers, which I guess Marco can post up at some point, pretty crazy.
Yeah, she's pretty crazy. Speaking of which, Brad,
Mm.
tell me about one thing. What were your
Yeah.
inspirations for this character? Is she Mr. Fantastic related?
No, she's definitely like T1000 related.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, she's Terminator.
basically, yeah, the Terminator inspired. But that's, like, oh, you can make metal things out of your body. Okay, that's clearly Terminator inspired, right?
I guess
Like,
that's
that's
fair.
not. There's no real secret there.
Yeah, okay, fine, that's fair. I will give you that. But yeah, I really, really appreciate this character, mostly because I really like the theme of a steel elemental. I don't know, it's like the concept of a shapeshifter who can shapeshift their body into different like metallic parts. Like that's a thing we've explored that before. But like you took the lore of Indians and basically gave us a justification for it, right? Like you go like, oh, she's a steel elemental or something like that. So it's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Gives you a sense of, like, I guess to make a sci-fi character work in a fantasy world. Um,
Yeah, because she's
but
basically a
I
sci-fi
think that's
character, right?
but that's one of the fun things about Indians, is that you've got the sci-fi zone up here, and you've got the spoopy horror zone down here, and you've got the like the Japanese ninjas and samurai, and like the over here, and then the Wild West over there, and there's a little room for everything, and I think that's part of the fun of the series.
I think what we should really consider is start mixing them. I want my cyberpunk werewolves. I want my fantasy samurai. I also want my, I don't know, horror cowboys.
Wizards,
Yeah,
it's
horror
cowboys, sure,
wizards.
horror cowboys. All right, we'll work on zombie cowboys when we do trains. I promise.
Okay, you heard that, everyone. Hold Brad to that because it's canon. So,
Yep. In
Brad,
in Imperial, there will be zombie train robbers. There you go.
there you go, canon.
This is absolutely not true, by the way.
Oh, come on, Brad.
Your trains do not get robbed
Why
in
do
this
you
game.
lift me up and then drop me down? Is
Okay,
why
I'll talk to Trey about it.
yes.
About train robbery in general.
Yes. About train robbery. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Let's end this segment, Brad, because we're gonna keep making.
Okay.
Look. At least we
Right.
didn't.
We're running a bit over.
Yeah, we got through this segment without making a single metal joke, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So that pretty much does it for our character of the week segment. And if you guys want us to do a specific character of the week, please, just put it in the comment section down below, and we will get to that as soon as we can. However, Brad, I think it's very important that we go on to our next segment because people want their questions answered in 99 questions.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Brad, just really quick, can you give us a current status for Wanderers of Indians?
Yeah. So Wanderers, the character art is finished up. We're in kind of pre-balancing. Based on our current release schedule, Dev Remastered is going to come first, and then we're planning Wanderers for the end of the year in 2018. So you'll probably have Wanderers hopefully around Christmas time next year is what we're looking at. But if you're a playtester, you will probably be playing Wanderers very early next year because we want to get a lot of time to balance this one. That said, I feel like the characters are really cool. They're not super complex. Like we have a lot of characters that only have a few tokens or that even have no extra materials at all, which is
Yep.
pretty refreshing. I really like like that kind of thing. And the characters are just cool in
Oh man,
Wanderers. I
I
think
know. I know some of the
they're gonna be real
characters.
neat.
Can I spoil one of them? Is it okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think my favorite Wanderers character is gonna be the Jin. So we have a genie character coming up, and his gimmick is super fun because his gimmick is that he's really OP. So he's kind of like Alexian, right? He's really OP and has really OP styles, but he grants the enemy wishes.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
The my favorite from here is probably the battle lawyer.
the battle lawyer. Yeah,
So she's this like magical battle lawyer, and she has these restrictions she can put down, and I believe I don't remember exactly the last version, but I think they affect her, but she gets stronger while she is playing with them.
yeah.
So you kind of you kind of tie one arm behind your back to get all these extra bonuses. Um,
As far as I remember, it used to be that she locked down her own bases actually. So she would
yeah,
put her bases in a reserve that she couldn't use anymore. So that's pretty cool.
mhm. Yeah, it's a pretty neat mechanic. The character that like jumps on your head is pretty fun too.
Oh
The
yeah,
harpy.
because she can fly, right? Like
Yeah,
that's her deal. Oh man, there's a lot more other characters. Like there's a guy with a ghost motorcycle, right?
he's like a phantom thief with a motorcycle. So
Wait, like Persona 5 Phantom Thief, or like
kinda.
yeah. So he has a ghost motorcycle.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's pretty neat.
Um,
It's all pretty cool. All these
there's fun characters in Wanderers.
yeah. We're so excited to show you guys them, but that's for another day. Next question, Brad. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Let's move on.
All right. This is a pretty long question, so I'm not sure if you want to do it this week. Maybe we should just do it next week.
Well, now that you've said all that, we kind of like have to do it. Otherwise, people will be wondering for a whole week what the question is.
All right. I'm gonna do
We can
this
just call it
fast.
2 questions if it's really long.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 questions worth. Watching the BattleCon online Discord chat, a frequently addressed topic by a lot of newer players is how overwhelming Cadenza can feel to play against. Do you think this is indicative of a problem having an oppressive character at low levels of play who may be perfectly fine or underperforming at high levels of play?
No, I don't really think so. I mean, this is like, this is the classic like Street Fighter Dragon Punch problem where you're like, oh my god, Dragon Punch is so good. How can I ever beat a character with a DP? But as soon as you learn the trick, then you get around it and it's easy. And I think that Cadenza is like that. Cadenza has a really good, like Dragon Punch type move, and you just have to be prepared for it all the time. And once you do that, then you can punish pretty easily.
Mm.
Um, so I don't think it's a problem. I think that it's a barrier. Like when you're learning a system, you have to make certain hurdles and in order to get into it. But those hurdles are also kind of what makes the game the game. Like if Cadenza wasn't there, it wouldn't be BattleCon.
That's fair. He's
You
my
know,
he's my my cute innocent robot son.
yeah.
He is my
There's
little
so
boy.
there's so much that he has to teach you it's for you to become a BattleCon player.
BattleCon master. So that's the
Yeah,
follow up
it's like
question.
Brock's gym.
Oh
Maybe
my
you got Charmander and you now have to beat Brock's gym, but that's okay. That's teaching you something, and maybe a little harder, but you'll get through it, and you'll be better.
So that begs the follow up questions, which is actually in this question. I didn't get to finish it. Do you balance for the average player, or do you balance for the smaller group of top tier players for tournament health and variety?
I think that we balance for optimal play, right? So you want to assume that players are going to be playing as good as they can, and then balance based on that. Um, we do try, especially in the newer games like Trials, to make it balanced for new players. But what that actually means, balancing for new players, tends to be taking out more complex effects or simplifying complex effects so that they work the same, but they don't have a lot of nuanced edge cases.
Which means that high-level players
yeah.
abuse them super easily.
Right. And this came out with a couple of the characters in War and Devastation, where they had a lot of really small, really technical effects that were good in very specific cases, and and so we're trying to cut those out in general, especially in the reprint of Dev. But that's not a but that's so I guess what I'm saying is that balancing for tournament level and balancing for casual players are two very different things, and so they can kind of both be done at once. You can make a character that's casual appropriate, and you can make a character that's tournament balanced, and you don't have to compromise on that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true too. Besides, at the end of the day, right? Like when a new player plays a character and they don't do so well with the character, or they feel like a character is broken, it's often first instinct to just say, "I'm just not good enough yet," right? But if you're at the higher levels of play, if something's abusable and broken, it's abusable and broken. You can't change that, but you can change being a new player, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that pretty much does it for our 99 question segment, where we asked Brad more than 3 questions in this episode. I mean, technically, the second question was worth 3 questions or something like that. So,
well, it worked out in the end.
It worked out in the end, and I loved it. That was a great question, by the way. If you guys want to give more questions for us, remember that all of our episodes will have the link to our submission form. If you want it to be there, you could also put it in the comments section down below. It's also really, really easy to get us to answer the questions that way. So finally, Brad, are you ready for our ever so wonderful final rotating segment?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Because Brad, and everybody listening at home, because are you ready to merchandise it?
Yay! All right. So what's our topic this week, Marco? What are we merchandising?
Oh my gosh, Brad. We have to workshop something, because I will present you a wonderful, wonderful concept or idea in a fictional game, and you have to think of a product to sell it. And hopefully, if the fans like the product enough, we make it real.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Well, I'm ready. So hit me with the product, or hit me with the concept.
Okay, Brad, I want you to merchandise Vital Silver Infusion.
Really, this drug that killed the Sala, you want to merchandise that?
Yeah, see, this is what makes it hard. You have to make it a merchandisable product.
Yeah, wow. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so this is a World of Indians branded breath mint that you can get. It's called Vital Silver. Make your breath shine. You they come in a little syringe shaped case, but you pop the syringe and one of the pellets pops out, and then you can eat it.
That's like Pez.
It's kind of like Pez, but with a syringe shaped dispenser.
I see. Okay.
and yeah, and so that's the pitch.
Do they make your teeth silvery or something?
Yes, yeah, they'll make your teeth silvery.
Oh my gosh, it's like that.
They have a slight metallic taste.
Oh my gosh, it tastes like blood. It's
this is the worst. This product gets worse and worse.
Who would buy this product? What kind of demented parents would go yes, my child will love
the same people that buy the every flavor beans, I guess.
Oh, that's true. There's a niche market for it, Brad. It might just work.
Okay. Wow. All right.
What's my merchandise idea, Brad? Do you have one for me?
Okay. Yeah. So I'd like you to merchandise Seraphina's hologram, Seraphina's hologram tech.
Oh man. Okay. This might sound weird. Okay. I imagine Seraphina's hologram tech would be really fun as a holiday gift card idea. So you know how some gift cards are you open it and then there's music or something pops out, right? So I feel like Serafina's hologram tech could use like, you know, that Hatsune Miku hologram technology they use to like put Hatsune Miku on stage, or the gorillas on stage. You could do that, but then you open it, and then I guess Serafina would be there because she's the only one who uses the projector. Scratch that idea. The merchandise idea is that we turn Serafina into a J-pop idol, right? And she becomes a virtual idol, and the way we distribute her is via these holograms that we give to people at home. So like, it's kind of like that R2-D2 thing. Like you like boink, and then there's like a light beam and some steam so that, you know, it catches the light, whatever. And Serafina's there, and she lectures you about photography or something.
I see. Okay. Wow. All right. That's quite a thing. Yeah. So I can see that.
Serafina being a waifu is the product, I guess.
Oh my dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. All right. This rabbit hole's gone deep enough. So let's call it a week.
Let's call it a week. So if you guys liked Brad's poisonous mints or Marco's J-pop idol Serafina, tell us in the comment section down below. It's okay to say neither.
Yeah, it's totally okay to say neither. We'll probably respect you more if you say neither.
Yeah, because honestly, my gosh.
Yeah.
Even I'm not proud of this. All right, okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for spending your Thanksgiving, well, rather your week after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, your week after Thanksgiving with us.
We would like to thank you for being with us all through all of these 46 episodes of the Level Cap podcast, and we've enjoyed having you. A lot of people have been more active on the comment sections and a lot more active on our blogs, so we really appreciate it. If you could help us out, just rate us on iTunes and tell us we like Marco and Brad's antics. I mean, we just want to get the content out to you guys, and we hope to, get that content out to more people out there who may or may not want to hear two nerds talking about poisonous mints.
Well, if they don't, it's easy to stop. So we can only assume everybody who's listening at this point wants to be here.
And we thank you for wanting to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting up with us. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a happy holiday and spend some time with friends and family. And as usual, happy gaming.
Thank you, World of Indians. Thank you, and good night.